Hello, Taiwan. So excited to be able to share some messages about health, as I always do. I wish I could be there in person, but as we all know, we've had a global problem. And it is a virus that started very close to you in China. And it is an unknown virus that has now become a global pandemic. And it's caused havoc throughout the world. And there are two parts of this virus. Number one, the virus is SARS virus COVID virus 2. And the disease that it causes is COVID-19, coronavirus 2019. And it started out small and it's turned into a global nightmare. And it's impacted the globe in really three big ways. The first, certainly, is the health of the entire globe. We've had 52 million people infected with SARS-CoV-2 that we know of, and it's probably much, much higher. We do know that over 1.2 million people have died around the world with this crazy virus. So it's had an amazing, devastating impact on health. The problem is because it was an unknown virus, we had no treatment, and we had to develop and are still developing a vaccine to hopefully get the virus under control. And it's put a major stress on the global healthcare system. First of all, the emergency rooms and the intensive care facilities have been overloaded on a global basis. And that is very bad in and of itself, but because of that crowding in our hospitals, many other diseases like heart disease and diabetes and cancer and brain disorders and all the other diseases that needed to be treated are now pushed down lesser. And many people have died because they have not been able to get proper medical care. So we know it has really impacted health and our healthcare system. But just as important, it's had a tremendous economic cost. This global pandemic has caused workers around the world to not be able to go to work, not be able to have money to feed their own families, sometimes not being able to pay for their homes or their cars. And it's been a tremendous impact on our workers. Our transportation systems around the world. If I could travel, I would be there with you, but the global transportation systems have literally been shut down. And that's caused a big impact on trade and goods and services moving around the world in our global economy. And we know that the gross domestic product, how much each country produces around the world, in every country with small exceptions, has been way down. So we know this has been a terrible year, 2020. I first heard about the disease and the virus beginning early. January 3rd, I first got my information about this potential dangerous virus. So it's been nothing but bad news for our global economy and for our healthcare systems and for the people literally around the world. So with all these problems, we're in the business of optimism, being positive, looking for the good. So what is the good that's come about with this coronavirus and this pandemic that spread around the world? Well, as we begin to investigate from a medical standpoint, here's what we found out. There's no treatment strategy, And we've got to develop a vaccine, which could take 1 year to 2 years. We're 1 year into it. We think Pfizer Pharmaceutical now has a vaccine that will be available in 2021, the early part of the year. And that's very good news. But the better news is for us as a wellness company, and with strategies of wellness being important, the entire medical, pharmaceutical, healthcare delivery systems around the world have started to say the best thing that the human can do while this pandemic is raging is have a healthier immune system. Have your body as resistant as it possibly could be, so that should you contact SARS, the virus, that it will not lead to COVID-19, the disease. And it's been just a tremendously difficult time for the entire world. As we evaluate what's happened in the world, I want to give you two illustrations. One is bad, and the other one is really quite incredible in terms of how countries have dealt with this global crisis. Number one is the United States. We have had over 10 million cases of SARS-CoV-2. The virus itself. It's infected over 10 million people that we know of, and it's probably 50 to 100 million people infected here in the United States, with a death toll of 10.2 million people. And I'll talk about this more later, but other countries, Europe, and other parts of the world have had very similar devastating effects. But there is a country that I've visited many, many times since 2003, Taiwan. Let me tell you, over this 11-month period, Taiwan has had less than 1,000 cases and less than 10 deaths. It's quite unbelievable, because in my city where I live, here in Dallas, Texas, this weekend, we will have over 1,000 cases, new cases, and we'll have great number of deaths, more than 10. So, and that is in one weekend, and you haven't had that many in 11 months. So congratulations, Taiwan, on taking a very proactive approach to controlling this pandemic. It's nothing but outstanding. So science and medicine, as they've studied, what do we do for treatment and what are we going to do to develop a vaccine, has really started focusing on what can the individual do and what are their recommendations. Well, their recommendations are get your immune system as healthy as possible. Get all your body functions as resistant and resilient as humanly possible. And in order to do that, you need certain things. And we've created products at ThanksI, a product that I'm extremely excited about, JoeGenEx, that addresses some of those very key issues. And the strategies that the medical profession and the pharmaceutical profession are really promoting for the first time on a global basis is human wellness. Because here's what we know, that of all the people that get around the world coronavirus, less than 2% will actually die. And most people that get the virus that come into their systems, 50% of those people will have no symptoms and have no expression of disease because they have an existing strong immune system. Now, in this day and time, it's very critically important to support those body health systems. So we created JoeGenEx as a phytochemical-based product from multiple ingredients so that we could get as much control over our health as humanly possible. I've been researching and promoting that concept now for over 40 years. And it's now more in the news than it's been in my entire career as a healthcare practitioner. And it's so exciting because at Thanks I, they're literally advertising for us to help create products that impact that system. And so we created JoeGenEx, a multitude of ingredients that come into the body in the form of raw materials that support defense of the body. And that's critical, defending the body from things that come in, not only viruses, but bacteria and parasites and all things that cause ill health. Well, JoeGenEx was designed really as a strong promoter of human defense mechanisms down to the cellular level. Another tremendous area is regulation of those biochemical networks within the body that do control each and every function that we have. Another area is when we are damaged, and if a virus or if we have an accident and something damages the tissues of the body must have systems, and it does, to repair those damages. And JoeGenEx was a product that was designed to help those repair mechanisms. And with the regulation, we want to regulate all those body systems to be back into balance, not overly done or underly done, but bring things back. When I studied Chinese medicine, the yin and the yang, get them balanced, and then the body has homeostasis, balance, so that it can defend and regulate itself tremendously, and then repair itself. And then if the damages tissues severely, those tissues have the ability to regenerate themselves. And those are all controlled by systems all the way in every cell down to the DNA. And JoeGenEx was a product based on decades of research that I've done and thousands of other doctors around the world and pharmaceutical companies around the world have been studying how do we control health and disease. And the answer is having a control of our gene and gene expression. And so JoeGenEx, as a phytochemical-based multi-ingredient product, is just a tremendous tool to bring that body to its highest level of wellness and resistance from outside influences that are going to affect all of us throughout our lifetime. So JoeGenEx has been just a tremendous player in building that health of the system. So as we think about JoeGenEx, a question comes, why should we take it and what value does it have as we're going through a global pandemic, or in the case of Taiwan, with minimal pandemic problems? How do we fortify the people for all areas of human health and disease? Because we have a rampant problem all over the world of heart disease, cancer, cardiovascular diseases of all types, neurological diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. The world is ravaged with disease, and wellness is the answer to that. So JoeGenEx was designed to be able to fortify that body to ward off and defend against all those outside invaders. So why should we use it? Well, because it is the, I won't say ultimate, but it is a major player in building the strength and the vitality of all the body systems, so that whether we're in a country like the United States where we are ravaged with disease, I have been exposed to COVID-19 disease people, and I've been in close contact. And I know that I have had that virus in my system. But because my system is strong, I was one of those 50% that had no symptoms, and my body, either innately or through acquired immunity, have a resistance to that disease. And I can't wait until we have testing technology where I can do a finger stick and test my blood like we can all around the world and find out I have now got immunity because I've been using products like JoeGenEx for over 40 years to fortify my health and be in a position to be strong in situations like a global pandemic. So I couldn't be more excited about a product like JoeGenEx. Proud to know I was in part of the development of this particular product. It's been a big part of my research, and it has a major part in how we're going to respond to all insults to our body for years to come. So here's what I always say about a great product. A great product will supply the raw materials that your body needs to defend, to repair, to regulate, to regenerate, and then to optimize our health where we can maintain that throughout a long lifespan. And that's the goal for each person that we want to share JoeGenEx with. It's a great product. It's based on science, and some of the latest science in DNA expression and epigenetic control is the foundation of this incredible product. So I'm so excited to be able to talk to you tonight from my home. I hope in the future we get this pandemic under control, because I miss you people being there in person, enjoying the incredible sharing of our lives together, sharing the incredible food that's available, and all the great times that I've had over the last decade of traveling to Taiwan and Southeast Asia. So thank you. I'm honored to be able to be part of a great company like ThanksI, that we create products that have the capacity to change and have a major impact on world health. So thank you. I'm so happy to be involved, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.